This week's episode of the STS Guys is brought to you by YardSalesSource.com. Miss out on Father Time's objects of desire the first time around? Fear not and take heed, for YardSalesSource.com is the place for new, used, and nostalgic items, both rare and collectible, are up for grabs, now with real-time video with descriptive shopping available on YouTube. Acquire what you desire, acquire what time forgot, acquire it now at YardSalesSource.com.
Shut up and sit down.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 13 of the STS Guys. I'm Jeremy.
Hey, it's Larry.
And there's just two of us at the table today.
There's nobody else here. This is kind of weird.
I know, we're having a very personal conversation.
Right.
We actually are missing a couple of our Patreons just because they had other events that were going on this week. But they did join us at the 2017 Phoenix Fan Fest. So this is so if you listen to episode 12, this is episode 13. So we've covered officially 2 Comic-Cons in 2 weeks.
That's crazy. Back-to-back cons, both local, so not like we had to travel very far, but it's still kind of busy, right? Like, we've been out all day. I didn't do much, but I'm kind of tired.
No, I am definitely tired as well. It's one of those things where I wasn't expecting it to be such a whirlwind. Like, you would think that, hey, you know what, going to a con, easy, you know, it's easy. You can just go and kind of mill around. But like I said, when you're covering it you make sure that we can share kind of all that with you. Like I said, it's more work than I thought it was.
Yeah, totally, right? Like, we had so much fun today, Phoenix Fan Fest. It was bigger than I thought it'd be. A lot of great guests, a lot of great booths to look at. I think the highlight, right? Like, this is what, the 3rd year they've done this, I think, 3rd or 4th? I think it's the 4th.
I think it's the 4th, yeah.
Yeah, the first 2 were at the University of Phoenix Stadium, the Cardinal Stadium, and then this is the 2nd year it's been in downtown Phoenix at the Convention Center. I missed last year, so this is the first time I had been kind of in this venue, but it was really great. I really liked how it was set up. We got there right about as the time it was opening. Had to pick up our badges. Mm-hmm. This is the first year they're using the RFID kind of barcode thingy, so weren't sure exactly how that was going to go, but we got in really quick.
Yeah, no, it was way simpler than I thought it was going to be. Once they announced that they were doing RFID, wristbands and things like that, I thought it was going to be way more of a hassle than what it was worth. But like I said, if anybody remembers last year at Phoenix Comic-Con here in Arizona, we had that issue where someone tried to go and actually kill Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger. So there was a gentleman that was dressed up as the Punisher who basically threatened the life of Jason David Frank. And I think that's what kind of spurred along a lot of the changes in regards to security and increasing basically the technology in regards to the actual badging and also basically the actual bag check process itself.
Yeah, you know what? And I felt very safe, very secure. There's a little bit of a line to get in to pick up your badge, and there's a little bit of a line at the bag check, and they also checked props if you had weapons or whatever for your cosplay. But I feel like both lines moved really fast. We were in probably less than 10 minutes. It wasn't bad at all.
No, I was pleasantly surprised with that. Like I said, it was a nice, simple transition in getting in. And like I said, the technology as you go in and out of the con, so basically they badge you in and badge you out of the con via that RFID bracelet that you have to wear. I think the only downside that people are going to maybe have, and I said, Larry, let me know kind of what your thoughts are on this. I know it doesn't bother me, but I know some people it might, is in regards to throughout, if you're there for the whole weekend, you basically have to wear the bracelet the entire weekend. So that way, like I said, you can get in and out of the con. So basically, the RFID isn't necessarily in your badge; it's in the wristband that's basically physically attached to your wrist that you can't take off.
Yeah, I agree. I'll be going back tomorrow. We're recording this on Saturday because we want to make sure we got a podcast out, right? But we'll be headed back there tomorrow. That means I have to leave this bracelet on all day. It's a minor inconvenience, but if they had another option, like San Diego did RFID badges last year, and it was a lot easier, right? Because it's on a lanyard, and you can take it off and put it to the side when you want to. But as far as that goes, that's it's a minor inconvenience. Luckily, it's only a 2-day con. Like San Diego's a 4 or 5-day con. I don't want to be wearing this bracelet for 5 days. So
yeah, I think it could be a little much. I said as you go for 5 days. So I think Larry, kind of let me know your thoughts. I think this was more of a dry run for what it's going to be like when an actual Phoenix Comic Con happens this upcoming May.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's it's May 24th through 27th.
Yep, absolutely. And you know what? To go back to San Diego, CCI used WonderCon as their test run for badges too, right? WonderCon's like in March. They busted out the RFID badges and back then to try it out, and it worked well for them with no snags that I remember. And then it was ready to go for San Diego, right? You wanna make sure that you have new processes kind of to test run before your big event. I think that's absolutely what they're doing. As far as I can tell, though, it went really well. Like I said, the bag checks and all that was a minor inconvenience, but really, I don't think I've ever had a bag check that was actually thorough, where the guy was checking to make sure you didn't have anything in there. After they went through our bags, they wanted us with, to just a metal detector wand to make sure we didn't have anything else on it. It was quick, but still made you feel really safe once you're inside.
No, I absolutely agree. I think it's a matter of, like I said, making sure that everyone is safe that's attending the con, and making the environment safe for everybody. I think, kind of in the world that we live in today, I'm willing, to give an extra 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes, for that, just to ensure, safety for everybody.
Yeah, totally, man. There's some crazy people out there nowadays. So
absolutely.
Yeah, luckily we're all inside the building together, just waiting. Everybody's having a good time. Normal con attitude, right? Everybody's there for the same reason. Everybody's there to have a good time, and that's absolutely what we had this morning.
Now, and speaking of good time, like I said, as we went in, I said I think the very first thing we saw was some of the amazing cosplay that was there. So I think one of the very first pictures that we snapped was basically we had a Martha Wayne Joker, we had a Scarecrow. I think we posted that to our Instagram. That's the very first kind of like group cosplay that we saw as soon as we walked into the con.
Yeah, that's right, huh? Right as we walked into the exhibit floor over there on the left was that cosplay group. That's one of the things like Phoenix Comic Con's kind of known for, is they're good at getting the cosplay groups, but then the individual cosplay is just really, really good. I know they even had a few of the professional cosplayers in attendance. I don't think I saw them all, but I saw Amber Skies hanging out at her booth. But I think Amber Bright was supposed to be there, Asta Young. I think there was like 5 or 6 that were going to be there. But they're busy, so you're not able to see them all the time. But yeah, we walked by Amber Skies, and that Justice League cosplay group. I'm not sure if they're like an official or just a couple friends who were hanging out, but we got a couple nice pictures of those. I think Nate threw them up on Instagram for us. There's a lot we've dropped on Instagram, right? I saw a really cool like teenage toddler Groot walking around. Not sure if that was a kid or an adult or what, but
it was a pretty. Like I said, they put a lot of time into that costume. Like I said, it was pretty impressive.
It was legit. It was really good quality. That picture's up on our Instagram too. So,
well, speaking of Groot, I think that's the thing too. Is like I said, no matter who or what you go to Comic-Con as, so you could have the most. Like I said, it doesn't take a lot to have a decent cosplay. I think one of the people that we ran into was, like I said, she was literally just had a baby Groot on her shoulder, but it kind of reminded me of basically the baby Groot in Guardians 2, just kind of like hanging out with like Star-Lord and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you're just chilling on this girl's shoulder. Like I said, it was awesome. That picture's on our Instagram as well.
Yeah, cosplay isn't hard, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's the more simple, subtle things. It just takes a little bit of creativity, and you can pull something off good. It doesn't mean you have to spend hours on your costume or anything. That one is super simple and still super cool.
So one of the very first things I wanted to do when I went there, as I said, we went around the exhibit hall, just because I think that's the, when you think of Comic-Con, that's the one thing that basically everyone kind of remembers from a convention is that cruise around the exhibit hall. So we took a lot of footage of that, like I said, to go into the different booths. And so we kind of cruised around that for a little bit, and then we ran into an artist by the name of Jim Hanna. Jim Hanna has worked on a ton of different works. He's done work for IDW. He's done work for Marvel in the past. He draws his own comics. Like I said, he has his own comic line. So one of the very first things I wanted to do was, I'm like, just because, like I said, I share kind of a common connection with this guy, I wanted to have him basically, I wanted to commission a sketch from him. So normally, like I said, I will have anybody who's drawn Spider-Man before. So I kind of, if there's an artist out there that's that's drawn Spider-Man at some point in time in his career, that's been published in Marvel, I will want basically a copy of Spider-Man. It's my typical go-to sketch that I have everyone do, just because
you showed them off in your room tour video.
Yeah. So I
had 5 or 6.
Yeah,
I think,
I got 5 or 6 there. So I have this is number 7 to add to add to the collection. I wanted to basically, okay, hey, I have this guy draw Spider-Man, but I wanted to do a kind of a different twist on this. Just because I wanted to kind of like, let me change this up a little bit. Jim Hanna also has this comic book series that he basically draws of his pug. Like I said, he's a dog lover, and like I said, he draws this entire comic book series, surrounding basically the pugs that he owns. And so I'm like, okay, so he's obviously decent at drawing dogs and things like that. So
he's a fellow animal lover.
A fellow animal lover. So I'm like, let me see if he'd be willing to kind of combine these two together. So we have a couple dogs. So I have a couple dogs. I have a couple boxers, and then I also have an English Mastiff. But the boxers, like I said, I've had ever since I've been down in the valley, and it's one of those things where I wanted to see if we could incorporate one of those boxers into a picture with Spider-Man. And like I said, you'll see this in my Comic-Con haul video. But Jim Hanna, he nailed this picture. Like I said,
he did a really good job. I thought it was funny, like when you asked him about it, and he's like, "Well, here's my prices, for one character or whatever." And he's like, "I won't even charge you any extra for the dog."
Yeah, very, very cool, because I think he realized that, like, you know what, this isn't something that I'm just going to take and I'm going to go sell later on. It's literally a signature piece, literally just for my collection, because it's so random. It's Spider-Man hanging out with a dog.
Yeah,
it's completely random. It's awesome.
Yep, it was awesome. It was a really good idea. I can't wait for you to share that.
Well, and then one of the details I actually just noticed it when I brought this picture home was, I was looking at it once again when I was showing my wife the picture, is actually on the collar of the dog. It actually has the Spider-Man symbol on the collar.
Right.
So
that makes sense. So it's like kind of like Spider-Man's dog.
Yeah, Spider-Man's dog. So it was very, very cool. So like I said, I'll be showing that off in the haul video that we'll be posting pretty soon in companion to this as well.
Yeah, because you bought a couple other things too, right?
Yes. So one of the main things I wanted to do,
without getting into much detail, because you got to check out the haul video.
Yeah, see, I'm not gonna spoil it all. I did buy some comic books.
Awesome.
I did get some decent comic books. It took me a little haggling back and forth with a couple of the vendors, but I was quite happy with the haul that I actually made. I'm quite excited to kind of put that video together, and kind of excited to tell kind of what that total cost was for that lot that I bought, but also excited to kind of show you what I came out of that.
Yeah, I think that was the main thing, right? Is I'm not an expert on comic valuation. However, like me and Nate, you showed me and Nate, and we're like, you got a really good deal. So you guys are going to have to check that out. It should be up early this week, if not even sooner. I didn't buy as much. I didn't see anything I really wanted. I did walk around. There were several vendors selling Funko Pops. Right, so that was where I gravitated to first. Got out the camera, got a pretty good Funko Pop haul video to throw up on the YouTube later on this week too, so you guys can check that out. A lot of, not really a spoiler, but a lot of commons. But one group table did have like pretty impressive collection of pops. Like the one that stands out to me was the San Diego Comic-Con metallic red Hulk, right? It's like a $200 pop or something like that. So this one guy did have a lot of grails. So it's definitely another video that if you like pops, you're going to want to check it out, because Phoenix Comic-Con, the vendors brought it with some great stuff again this time.
Now that was interesting, because like I said, that was like pop jail.
Yeah.
That was the only thing interesting about that specific booth.
Yeah, like I took a picture that I didn't post anywhere on my phone too of that guy's pops, but I'm like, yeah, it kind of looks like they're in jail. It was just a weird setup. Like he wanted to keep his stuff safe, right? So it was behind, like, I don't know, some type of like chicken wire kind of bar.
Like I said, it's understandable, because like I said, a lot of the exhibitors there, like I said, especially if you don't have, like I said, kind of a partner there in helping you work the booth.
Yeah.
Like I said, and you're interacting with one customer, and like I said, and they kind of distract you with another one. So it was just for safety. It was a little weird setup that it immediately caught my eye in regards to the setup that they had.
Yeah, mine too. It straight up looked like a jail cell for the pops, but you know what? It still shows up really good in the video. And again, the guy had some really amazing stuff. So I'm excited for you guys to be able to check that out. I did buy a few things though. The Phoenix Comic-Con Fan Fest brought a pretty great list of media guests. The ones that I was most interested in is, I think I've mentioned this before on the podcast, but my son and I are pretty big Steven Universe fans. And a couple of the guests were actually from Steven Universe. So they brought Zach Allison, who does the voice of Steven, Grace Rolick, who does Steven's best friend Connie, and AJ McCalca, who does the voice of Stevani, who is a fusion between Steven and Connie. But anyway, I threw down a couple bucks to get, I had a 2017 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive cover of a Steven Universe comic book that Boom Studios puts out. So I brought that along and had Zach and Grace sign it. Turned out pretty great, so I'm pretty excited to have that in my collection.
No, that was definitely awesome. And the nice thing too, I think a lot about the smaller Comic Cons, stuff like that, is it's a lot easier to actually interact with the guests. And so, like I said, I know, like I said, when you walked up, like I said, you were able to walk right up and actually interact with Zach directly. Like I said, it's not like you had to wait in line for like an hour.
Yeah,
and
you're not rushed like when we saw Stan Lee in An Amazing Las Vegas, right? Where it's all, here you go, or even Stan Lee when he signed our books, he doesn't even look up and acknowledge you. So yeah, this was a lot better. Like I think it's worth the couple bucks, because not only do you get a signature, you get to spend a couple minutes with them, and it's totally not rushed. Like there's a little bit of a line, but probably 5 minutes or less, and I was right in front of Zach, and he was signing my book and able to say hi real quick. Same thing with Grace. Like there was really just a small line, took my money, and I was good to go. That was super nice, right? Like San Diego's kind of line con. Even Las Vegas took a while to get through some of that stuff, but Phoenix Comic Con Fan Fest did a great job with line management on this, and everybody was in and out super fast, and they didn't rush you. Like you got to spend pretty much as much time as you wanted to within reason to get to interact with these celebrities.
No, I think that's probably, like I said, one of my favorite things about, like I said, these smaller type of events. Like it's great going to San Diego. It's great going to New York. It's great going to C2E2 in Chicago.
Yeah.
I think that the smaller conventions, they still kind of hold a kind of a special place in my heart anyway, just because, like I said, you get to interact. Like I said, for example, like Tucson was, like I said, it's not as big as some of the other conventions out there, but I honestly had a blast at Tucson, just because I said, we got to interact with Ming from Comic Book Man.
Yeah.
It was, like I said, it was a lot of fun doing that, and it's something that, like I said, they go to the bigger conventions, but if I was at the bigger conventions, I don't think that would have ever happened. Like I said, if at New York or at LA Comic Con or anything else like that, because, like I said, they're so busy. There's a line, there's a queue of the line.
No, for like real life example, there's been a Steven Universe panel in San Diego at least the last 2 years that me and my son would have wanted to go to. It's like the second panel of the day in the Indigo Ballroom. But in order to get into that, like I'd have to get up at least 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and go get in line. And then you're not even interacting with anyone. You're just sitting in a big room with people and listening to them talk, which is awesome. But like I haven't done that the last 2 years, because I felt like it wasn't fair to my son to be like, hey, let's go get up super early, and we might not even get in this room. The bad part about that Indigo Ballroom on a Friday is after the Steven Universe and Cartoon Network stuff, it's Bob's Burgers and Rick and Morty. Yeah. So the Bob's fans and the Rick and Morty fans are pretty crazy. So I didn't even mess with this. Like by waiting, I got to meet them and talk with them for a minute and get an autograph without spending hours of my time. It was pretty awesome.
No, I think, like I said, that right there is kind of like one of the best experiences that you can have at the convention. Now there was a lot of other people at the convention too. I said another highlight was Ernie Hudson from Winston Zedmore from Ghostbusters. Like I think another thing that everyone always thinks Ghostbusters when they think of Ernie Hudson. Honestly, whenever I think of Ernie Hudson, I think of Ghostbusters, but I also think of Hand That Rocks the Cradle too. Oh. So like I said, I don't know how many of our listeners have ever seen that movie, but he plays kind of a special needs individual. Great. I think he actually won like some type of award for that movie actually, because like he plays that role so well. And so it was interesting to see kind of like if anybody had recognized him for that. Like I said, but everyone was there honestly to see him for his role in Ghostbusters, because I said the iconic Winston Zedmore, the common sense type of individual. So the non-scientist of the entire group. That kind of brings in that real life kind of street level knowledge.
Yeah, right. The fourth Ghostbuster who joined a little late. No, it was awesome too, right? Like, I think one of the great part about these, like you said, the smaller comic conventions is like, I didn't pay to get Ernie Hudson's autograph, but we walked by his table and like, hey, look across and hey, there's Ernie Hudson. Like, it's still kind of cool. I remember, same thing, Phoenix Comic Con, I guess 2 years ago, Ralph Macchio was there, right?
Yeah.
The Karate Kid. I'm like, I didn't get his autograph, but I could at least walk by and say, hey, there's the Karate Kid. Like, it's still kind of fun. You can have a good time without even spending a lot of money. I think like the rest of the list was pretty great. I believe the majority of the cast from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was there.
I think that was the highlight. Those were the headliners.
Yeah, that's pretty major.
Event, yeah.
They've got what, 4 people from Willy Wonka?
Yeah.
Including Peter Ostrom, Charlie himself. That's a pretty big deal.
No, yeah. So you had Charlie Bucket there. You had, they said, Veruca Salt. You had Mike TV, and then you had what's her face? I'm trying to think of her name. What character she played.
I don't know who you're talking about.
The blueberry.
Yeah,
one.
I was like, I'm just gonna start naming names. Veruca Salt.
Veruca, not
Salt.
Veruca.
Oh, the purple girl. No.
Violet Beauregard.
Violet, yeah,
Violet Beauregard. So I'm sure everyone out there is like, like screaming, "It's Violet, you idiot!" in the at their stereo right now. But yeah, no, it's Violet. Okay, got it without even looking it up.
Well done.
I'm just saying.
Yep. So that was cool. They're a pretty big deal. I think a lot of people were also excited about Kevin McNally from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes, I think that was quite a draw as well. And then also, I said there was also Jed Reese.
Yes.
So Jed Reese, many people recognize him from Deadpool. So he was the kind of like lead henchman of the group that was basically going around trying to recruit people to become basically part of this like mutant program, in that mutant experimentation program that they were running. And so he's from that. He was also in the movie
The Ringer.
The Ringer, yes.
Man, I know. Like when I saw this picture, that was the first thing I thought of. I shouted, The Ringer! Like, right? Who doesn't love a good Johnny Knoxville movie?
Yeah, so like I said, he was there. Like I said, definitely, a great group, a great mix of groups. So that way, anybody who was there, could basically interact with someone that they could relate to based on something they've seen, kind of crossing generations. So you have something from a past generation with Willy Wonka to something with a present generation with Steven Universe. Like I said, it's something they could apply to everybody. I think the vendors too. Like I said, I know I had a great time interacting with a lot of the different vendors there. So like I said, I am always a fan of, like I said, the actual comic vendors when I go to Comic-Con. So it's nice to see that there was a good mix of actual comic book vendors there. So like I said, that actual Comic-Con vibe isn't lost because you can actually buy comic books at a Comic-Con.
Yeah, for sure. I know that's one of the biggest negatives, right? Or biggest feedbacks everybody has is like, where's the comic books at the Comic-Con? Well, I was surprised. I think they had more this year than the last time I went 2 years ago. So there was a ton. I looked at some stuff with you. I almost bought a copy of Marvel's ARG #1. Kind of regretting not picking that up for the low price of $4.50.
I honestly think since we're going back tomorrow, I said if ARG #1 is still there,
I might have to grab ARG #1.
I think you'll have to buy ARG #1 just because.
All right, I'll buy ARG #1. I'll throw a picture up on Instagram. You're probably listening to this thinking, what the hell's Larry talking about? It's this awesome cover, at least, of Dracula holding some lady. It was just kind of epic, like 70s nostalgic monster thing. It was pretty epic.
It was the most random thing. So it's literally the first book in this box.
Right? Alphabetical.
Yeah, alphabetical. So I start flipping through this box and I pull this out, and then Larry's like, "You got to buy that." I'm like, "I don't know about this."
Now, the more he thinks about it, he's regretting his decision as well.
Just honestly, a little bit, just because there's. As I started looking at the book, there was like hidden things in the book, like, hey, no stopping, no reading street signs, but how would you know to stop if you didn't read the street sign? And
yeah, it's one of those things where like they put so much detail into the artwork that it was amazing. Like the book's probably garbage. The condition wasn't great, but man, that cover was pretty epic. I will buy that tomorrow as long as it's still there, and I will throw a picture up on the Instagram. Follow us at STS Guys.
Ooh, nice plug.
Thanks.
Like I said, kind of to that point though. Like I said, a lot of the coverage that we have and a lot of the photos that we have are posted on our Instagram. Like I said, if we stopped you and you had basically an awesome cosplay, like I said, we threw your picture up on there. Like I said, you can find us like hanging around. Like I said, they'll be handing out stickers. Like I said, some of us will have prizes as well. Like I said, it's something that we wanted to do to one, kind of get the word out there in regards to the podcast, and actually interact with our listeners, which we actually, so an interesting time that I had was, I'm flipping through some books in a booth, and then so we're wearing the STS Guys podcast t-shirts. So we're wearing these awesome T-shirts that we just got, and so that way, you know what? One, we're official media because like I said, we have T-shirts. Besides badges, we also have T-shirts. But I'm flipping through books. You know, I'm not even filming at this point in time because I'm like, okay, I'm taking a break. You know, I'm gonna look through some books for me to kind of fill in some holes in my collection. And then someone looks over and they're like, "Hey, STS Guys!" Like, I listened to that. It was epic.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was a sign that one, we are spreading the word out there that, hey, you know what? The STS Guys are kind of out there. We're kind of a thing. Just saying.
Kind of a thing.
We're kind of a thing. But it was awesome to interact with one of our listeners, you know, and give him, like I said, a whole bunch of some stickers and stuff like that and some swag. So that way he could go on the road and enjoy himself. So thank you, Dustin, for stopping by and listening. We appreciate it. He says he listens to us every week. So
hey, Dustin.
So hello, Dustin. Thank you for tuning in. And I said, if you're tuning in every week, I'm sure you're hearing this right now.
That's awesome. Yeah. So I know we spent a lot of time at the comic book booths, but there's a lot of other good stuff too, including a friend of the podcast, Moto's Glass.
Glass was there.
So they were there. We met them in Tucson. Good people. We also saw who was it? Oh, Shark Robot. Those are some good guys too, and Socially Stealth. Made a couple new friends. Good time. Like sometimes if you take the time to talk with the smaller vendors, you can make some new friends and maybe learn about some cool new products. We took this opportunity, right? It's not just to go out and cover the con, but we're out there. You know, again, Jeremy always talks about building up the community. We're just trying to build up the community, make some new friends, try to get some good stuff for you guys. If there's a product out there that we like, we want to support it and tell our listeners about it so we all can enjoy.
No, and that's right, because like I said, we want to, like I said, we want to grow together. Like I said, we're growing our listener base. Like I said, I know we interact on, like I said, on a daily basis in regards to, you know, different things that we like, we find enjoyable, different, you know, products and different things that we find cool and awesome that we have to pick up. But then, like I said, there's also those things out there where we want to tell everyone about it. Like so, for example, like I said, the Moto's Glass stuff. Like I said, that the glass work on that is completely awesome. Yeah. Like I said, he can basically create any type of glass and create basically any logo that you want. And then he had basically Star Wars glasses and Marvel glasses, and you can do company logos and stuff like that.
The perfect holiday gift for that special loved one in your life. Moto's Glass.
Motosglass.com.
Yeah, so that was fun. Samurai Comics was there. They brought a lot of cool collectibles, not just comics. I don't even know if they brought any comics. They did. They had a few. They had a lot of those Marvel lenticular covers, but they had the new Teen Titans Go mystery minis. Hadn't seen those yet. They had the Star Wars mystery minis. Had a decent selection of pops. You'll see that in my pop hunting video. But those are good guys too. They brought a really nice assortment of stuff. They always had a ton of people around their booth, so I hope they were doing well. It sure looked like it.
No, and then there's, like I said, we talk about cosplay, but there's also like cosplay groups that were there as well. So I know a couple that we specifically saw were the Arizona Autobots. Like I said, basically a Transformers themed cosplay group. We have a couple pictures of them. Like I said, they in their Transformers costumes
they looked great.
They looked great. They were pretty massive.
Yeah, I got respect for anybody who's willing to wear like a robot costume all day.
Yeah, a full-on Optimus Prime costume. Like I said, even if it's foam, like I said, you know,
I don't care.
It's still,
it's restricting, man. It can't be comfortable.
Well, like it's November now, so everyone throughout the country is probably, you know, bundling up and putting coats on, this, that, and the other. I was in shorts and a t-shirt today, and I was still hot. Yeah. It was almost 90 degrees in the middle of November.
Dude, it was hot walking back to the car. The rest, I mean, hopefully it'll be nice out here sometime. My mom was in Chicago this week. She said it was snowing the other day. Nope. It's 90. I'm wearing blue jeans and I feel a little warm. Like, it's awful. Arizona is what it is, man. But at least we had good Comic-Con.
Yeah. So then we also ran into the Arizona Avengers as well.
Oh yeah, those guys are awesome.
Yeah. So like I said we got a group photo with them. Like I said that was pretty cool as well.
Yeah. Nate did a good job. Nate kind of ran our Instagram story and got most of the pictures up on the podcast, or not on the podcast. We're the podcast up on our Instagram. We'll keep talking about Instagram, so you might want to go follow us at STS guys.
At STS guys, like I said, we also just gave away our very first.
We just did a double giveaway.
We did double. Yeah,
there
we
were
did,
two.
We did a double giveaway.
Yeah,
That's right. So we have
the first one was the Hellboy.
the first one was a Hellboy.
Right when we hit, was it 300 followers on Instagram, which we finally reached earlier this week.
Yeah, so that was at More Photography 562. So they were our very first winner on Instagram. Like I said, we had given away that Hellboy. And then in celebration of basically going down to Tucson Comic-Con, so we actually had a San Diego Comic-Con 2017 exclusive Aquaman with Motherbox.
Yep.
That was part of the San Diego exclusive. And that was Brian_74 won that on our Instagram.
I believe he won that with his bonus entry for using hashtag I love Larry.
So you'll probably said. So we do have people that went on Instagram. So we do kind of a twofold approach. So we don't want we know some people are on Instagram. We know some people are on YouTube. But we want to make sure that we're giving back to everyone, no matter what channel they kind of follow us on.
Yeah, for sure. Not everybody likes to watch videos.
Yeah.
But, if you're going to watch any videos, you should probably watch an STS Guys unboxing video. They're pretty great.
Yeah, you can find those at stsguys.online.
So we actually also hit 200 subs on our YouTube channel, which means we've unlocked another giveaway, right? We'll be announcing the winner soon for that Rob Liefeld signed Deadpool comic that Jeremy offered up from his personal collection.
Yeah, so that will be announced here in the next day or so.
Yeah.
So we'll drop our video for that. And then at that point in time, like I said, we have an announcement basically for probably one of the biggest giveaways that we've ever done. It's something that I'm kind of excited for.
Yeah, me too. The Last Jedi, the newest Star Wars movie, hits theaters in December, so we thought it would be cool to do a special Star Wars prize pack giveaway. So not just one pop this time, it's going to be 2 pops, plus a couple comic books. We are still working out the details, but it's going to be super awesome, super mega, STS Guys style, right? That's how we do things, super mega. It's going to be great. You're going to want to enter. There's going to be multiple ways to enter. So if if you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, there's going to be special opportunities for you to enter. And you know what? There's going to be a secret code word just for podcast listeners that's going to get you a ton of bonus entries. So if you're listening to this, you'll want to keep listening to make sure you guys hear that code word in a future podcast.
I love that idea. I love the code word idea.
Yeah, we had talked about it before. I didn't
had-
bring it up specifically for this one, but that was in the back of my mind.
Yes.
We will do a code word.
The code word, like I said, we will let you know what video that specifically is in,
for sure.
So that way, I said we can tell you kind of to be on the watch out for that. It'll be something that's fairly obvious too. Hashtag I love Larry. Like I said in our very first code phrase. Like I said, was quite successful. I said I think Larry was happy to be trending on Instagram.
You all made me feel very special, so thank you.
So I think we had the majority of people enter to get 2 entries for that post.
It was almost, at least 90%. Yeah, almost everybody did. So thank you guys. I appreciate that. I love you too.
So I think that's kind of all we had about the con this week.
Yeah, let's. I mean, if we talked about YouTube, right? Like, we dropped a ton of videos this week. Like Jeremy mentioned, him and Scott hit up Tucson Comic-Con. So they also recorded a podcast on the way back from Tucson Comic-Con, recapping it, kind of like we're doing here for Phoenix Fan Fest. So if you haven't listened to that already, you'll be sure you want to check that out. Jeremy posted his Tucson Comic-Con haul video where he picked up some great things. I don't want to spoil that, but you'll definitely want to check that out. There's some really cool comic books if that's what you're into. What else did we do?
We also did. We dropped the Assassin's Creed. So
Scott and Leo.
Scott and Leo sat down and played the initial Assassin's Creed. So just to kind of give everyone a heads up on that, is we actually had that video recorded the day the game came out. And so just kind of a funny backstory about that. And like I said, you got to go check out this video, just so that way you can actually kind of see kind of the backstory behind it. But small story short is that we had, a change of heart in regards to the review of the game. And so I'm getting ready to post it. It's uploaded to the Instagram. I'm sorry, it's uploaded to YouTube. Yeah. I hadn't made it public yet. And then Scott's like, hey, pull that video. I need to change my review on it because this game is awesome.
Yep.
So go check out that review. Like I said, it's pretty in depth. Like I said, there's like I said a whole voiceover, and there's about 30 minutes of total gameplay from that game.
Yeah. A pretty big too. Nate did his first official STS Guys unboxing. He opened up a Mezco Superman figure. It's pretty awesome. So if you guys are into action figures and Mezco, go ahead and check that out. And I think it's worth plugging again. Jeremy got a pretty awesome interview with Ming Chen from AMC's Comic Book Ben. That's out there too. So like we mentioned, we got a bunch of good stuff last week. We got a ton more coming this week. There's a few more unboxings. You can check out Jeremy's Funko Legion of Collectors box unboxing. That's up there too from last week. A couple great pops in that box if you're into that kind of stuff. But we got at least 3 or 4 videos coming from Phoenix Comic Con Fan Fest as well.
So I also want to kind of take this time as well to kind of do a couple shout outs. Just for one, we've had a lot of support from a lot of the community out there. So like I said, a couple of the shout outs that I'd like to call out is Daydreams and Nightmares. Like I said, he was the winner of our Deadpool Venom Deadpool giveaway.
Yep.
Like I said, check out his channel at Daydreams and Nightmares on YouTube. Awesome channel. Like I said, he's very supportive of the community, is always willing to kind of like promote your channel. He's always like has some new contests and new content that he has. He does unboxings and different things like that. So definitely check out his channel. And then another channel I want you to check out is Dracula's Comics and Things. So I contacted Dracula's Comics and Things because I said he does mainly comic book haul videos and things like that. And so we kind of interacted. Like I said, I found out that he was down at Tucson the same time we were.
Oh, awesome.
So we kind of interacted back and forth. And so we're actually worked out, we're actually going to do a blind trade box from one another. So kind of expect that video to be dropping soon. So I'm going to be shipping his box off sometime this weekend. So that will be on its way down to him. And then, like I said, he's going to be sending a box my way as well.
Awesome. As long as you're doing shout outs, shout out to Dork in the Road on YouTube for sending me that awesome box of Dorbs. If you guys haven't checked out that video, go check that out too. Check out her channel. Again, Dork in the Road. It's pretty awesome. Good people. Shout out to our sponsors.
Yes.
Yardsalesource.com. If you're into action figures and that kind of stuff, go check out what he's got for sale. And my personal favorite, Frisky Britches. You can still sign up for the Frisky Britches monthly subscription box and get that special lady in your life some wonderful panties, and save 15% if you use code FBSTS when you go to shopfriskybritches.com.
Then one final shout out. Like I said, I want to give a shout out to probably one of our earliest supporters. Like I said, he has been there since the beginning, and he's like I said, he's retweeted our episodes, and we've kind of grown our channel simultaneously together. This is a shout out to Half Geek. Half Geek, I said I know we've exchanged different messages back and forth on YouTube and Instagram. I said you always seem to be finding, like I said, you're the luckiest guy in the world finding chases, left and right. Just want to say, thank you to all you've done for the channel. You've helped us grow to where we are right now.
Yep. Thank you, Half Geek. You're pretty rad.
For that, I think we're coming close to the episode this week. So for this week's episode 13 of the STS Guys, I'm Jeremy.
And it's Larry.
And this is your official coverage of Phoenix Fan Fest 2017. We will see you next week.